Perfect. Welcome, Bart. Thanks for joining me here in the Q&A session. I'm curious to see how many people we already see. 2 people, Tim Worthington and Tribal Head checking in. What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. This is actually the first time I'm streaming on YouTube, so we'll see what happens. Hey, Rosalie Visser. We're drinking water. That's how rockstar we are.
Rock and roll, baby.
Anyway, thanks for joining me here in the Q&A session.
Thanks for having me again. It's really cool.
It's fun to see you here.
Last time we did the video chat thingy.
Yeah.
And now in real life.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
We actually never met in real life before. This was the first time.
Yeah. That's weird.
That's so weird because it feels like you already met each other or you already know each other.
Yeah. We always were in the same kind of circles. So
yeah.
That's weird. I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
No, I just thought about it. It's fun. No, we won't. Yeah, we won't drink alcohol now. Tribal Head.
Maybe later.
Maybe later. But yeah, the thing that I want to do today is go through Q&A. I have some questions that I gathered on my Instagram yesterday and on the community Facebook page. So we'll go through that. And if people in the chat room have other questions, feel free to ask. Bart is here to talk about the stuff that you would like to know more about, and otherwise I'll have some questions for you.
Nice.
So let's just get started with the first ones that I got on my Instagram page. Are you a big fan of Instagram?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's Instagram can also be a really good thing for inspiration. Well, I actually made a track out of one of the
the Super Zoom track.
The Super Zoom, one of the filters thingies.
How did you came up with that idea?
It just came to me one day when I was just on Instagram, just checking everyone's stories, and then I heard the sound. I was like, this sounds kind of trappy or something, and it could be cool to implement that into a house song.
Yeah.
Just see where it goes, and just took it from Instagram, sampled it, and then started working with a bass line around it. And
okay, how did you sample it?
I just recorded it from my phone.
Oh, really?
But I later on I actually replayed the sample because I didn't want to get in trouble with Instagram with any copyright issues.
Oh, so you made it yourself?
Yeah. It was recreated. But it still sounds the same. It
sounds the exact same. I didn't notice it was.
Well, I have to be honest. I got a little help from a friend who is like an amazing sound designer, and he really helped me get like almost the exact same sound. So that was really cool.
You nailed it.
Well, yeah, with his help, he did a great job. Yeah.
I actually don't know if Instagram has copyrighted those sounds. But
I don't know either, but I want it to be safe.
Yeah,
and
better safe than sorry,
not get
right?
sued, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Royal Junk, yes, you're on time. Guys, to everyone who's watching, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. Where do you get your inspiration from? And I know this is something you talked about at Dance Fair as well. So, where did it come from?
Well, I got an hour presentation that I can give.
I'll be back in an hour, guys.
No, I draw inspiration from so many things and so many angles. I always look at a lot of music, obviously, but also old music, new music, maybe music from different genres. But also like from Instagram, for example, just sounds that I hear around me.
Oh, really? So you just go to your Instagram timeline, watch videos?
Yeah, I mean...
From whatever...
you see obviously a lot of other DJs and producers post their songs on Instagram as well. So that can give you inspiration. But also just any sound that you could hear around you.
Yeah.
have fun also sampling stuff. So maybe like I sampled like all my kitchen appliances and stuff.
Really?
And,
so you use your mic a lot?
I do. I
actually
like
never use it. It's right there, and I bought this one because that one's too far.
It is really far.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. Anyway. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a cool thing to do because you get your own organic sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, man, I've used so many animal sounds in my in my tracks. I think I've sampled or used sounds of my cat, for example.
What's the name of your cat?
I have 2 cats. They're called Peace and Kathy.
Peace and Kathy.
I didn't name them myself.
Really?
That's the name that they already had when I adopted them from the shelter. But yeah, I just like was recording them with my phone, you know, and then using those samples in my tracks.
So there's like hidden samples that we might not hear at first.
Yeah.
On the actual track.
Yeah, it's just very subtle, but maybe different than other sounds because it doesn't come from a sample pack or stuff that other people have. But I also use those sounds. I mean, sample packs can be great for inspiration as well.
Sometimes they do. Like, we had the conversation earlier with the splice thing and people using the samples from the same sample packs, which might be a problem because a lot sounds the same. This might be a great way to cancel that out. Yeah,
but also with sample packs, you can be more creative. You don't have to use the sample as it is or the sound as it is. You can, you know, mess around with it, just reverse it,
process it,
like use distortion or anything, or just like mess around with it until you get something completely different.
Cool, smart one. Yeah. I see Jack Dahl checking in. Jack Dahl, I think. How to develop your own sound but still stay within the real. I never know how to pronounce that word. Realms.
The realms.
Yeah, that's the one. Within the realms of a certain genre, like hexagon, future house style.
I think for that it's important to know a lot about yourself and the things that you like, and you know, maybe you're interested in that future house sound, in that Don Diablo sound, but there must be other sounds that you love as well. So just try to incorporate some of those sounds into that future house stuff as well. And for that, you really need to like know what kind of stuff you like, and you know what is it that makes you tick, like what kind of music. Exactly. And you know,
how did you find that out?
Just by experiencing it, really. Because
you're doing this how much years? 10?
Professionally for 12 years.
12, yeah.
But I think I've been DJing and making music for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So it actually took me 8 years to kind of create a business out of it. Yeah,
cool. I actually see a question coming in which I think is really interesting, and I've been dying to talk about this. I'm not sure if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, I'll explain it. Royal Junk asks, what are your thoughts on Colonel Sanders on UMF? Have you seen it?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Would you like to talk about it?
Sure, I mean...
What's your thought on it?
It doesn't... I think it's like completely... how do you say that in English? Like the plank mislaan, you know?
It doesn't make sense.
It's missing the target. Like it's like a corporate business trying to convince ravers.
I'm not sure. The thing is, the first problem is we're talking about it, which is advertising. So that's what they wanted to. So they probably reached their goal, but the problem is...
Well, a lot of people talk about it, so...
Yeah, but the problem is a festival stage the right place to do that?
I think, you know, as a rave culture, people like to maybe sometimes escape from all that stuff, you know, like at a rave you can just be yourself, be free, and you don't have to you're not being bombarded by like all these ads all the time.
Yeah.
And then now you are. So I think it kind of goes in against rave culture.
Yeah.
Really.
I
But a lot of people talk about it, so I guess they already reached their goal. But
the thing is, I was watching the live stream, and
so it hit you by surprise.
well, yeah. At first, the guy was interviewing two girls on Ultra, and he said like his question was the girls could win something, and his question was, who's the oldest DJ playing Ultra? And then the answer was Colonel Sanders, and I was like, who the fuck is who's that? You know, like, because I think Carl Cox was playing, I'm not sure, but I thought, who's that guy if I've never heard of him? Like, how does she know him?
Yeah.
And then, like, an hour later or 2 hours later, I was watching the stream, and this guy came up, and a friend of mine said, like, that looks like the KFC logo. And then the visuals was like finger licking good. It was like, fuck!
Yeah.
So, what's this? I was blown away. I thought like, wow, this is a new low.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I'm curious to see where things go from here, but yeah, interesting topic.
that's the thing. Yeah, where does it stop?
This is, I think this is just the beginning. Now that one festival started doing it, I think more will follow.
Yeah, so it's just like YouTube now. You have to watch an ad before you see your favorite DJ play.
Yeah.
That sounds horrible, to be honest.
You can't escape. Like, even live, you have to see an ad. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Cool. Next one. How do you motivate yourself? It's a good one.
That's actually just really easy because I just love music so much.
But do you never feel like not making music?
Yeah, of course. But then I'm probably listening to music.
Okay. Yeah.
You're not always inspired, but you can also work on being inspired as well. Just by listening to other music and maybe watch a movie or something, or you can be inspired by conversations that you have with your friends and stuff, or by going out for a night. Yeah, I mean, for example, this weekend I was hanging out with some friends, and we were just talking about music. And the next day I just wanted to go into the studio and make music because I had all these ideas, and they gave me their input, and you know, it's just.
And what, like, do you have a balance in there? Because sometimes I get the question from starting producers saying, like, I feel like I have to make music every day to become a big DJ.
Yeah.
But do you take days off every now and then?
Not really.
No? Always working?
Pretty much, but
wow.
It's usually pretty random. So when I feel like oversaturated and I don't feel inspired anymore, that's when I usually take one day and say like, okay, today I'm just gonna chill, and just not think about music for a while. I
think that's the best thing to do. Just listen to yourself. Like, I always say, if you spot yourself just refreshing Facebook over and over again, that's probably the time to leave. You know, like. At least that's what I always noticed when I trick myself into going online and clicking and getting lost on the internet. That means I wasn't capable of making music that day, so I just...
You need to step away. Yeah,
just take a day off, and when the sun shines, just go outside, do something else, but reset your brain from what you were doing at that time.
I don't think we get a lot of sunshine.
No, well, I do nowadays. There's one win already. I have a window now.
Yeah, you have a window. That's great.
Like, my old studio was completely built in, darkness all day long. Yeah.
It does give you that club vibe, right?
True. Yeah. But right here, I can dim the lights and I can lower down the lights, so it's still a dark place to make music if you want to. Yeah. I actually never make music, so.
Never.
I think I've made music 3 times now. Okay. In 7 months, 8 months, 9 months. Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. At that moment I did, yeah. But sometimes it's like you said, sometimes that feeling grabs you, that inspires you and feel like, hey, I feel like making music again. and now that I have the opportunity again of the studio, it's easier for me to actually do it. But that feeling just doesn't come that much anymore. Like 10 years ago, it was every single day.
I have it a lot when I listen to old music now. So
Yeah.
like club tracks from 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When I listen to them now, I really think like, man, this is so good. I want to make like a 2019 version of this track.
Yeah.
And just use that as an inspiration, but try to do it in a more modern way.
Take it to these days, like with the new opportunities and the new samples and stuff.
Because a lot of people haven't heard those tracks yet.
Yeah. What's your favorite old track? Like your old timer?
Oh man, you're kind of putting me on the spot right now.
I'll tell you mine. Mine is Man with the Red Face.
Oh,
I love that one. The Mark Knight version and Funk Agenda. Because there's a million versions of it.
yeah, that's it's the original is Laurent Garnier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me think about it for a little bit, and I'll get back to you on that one.
Sure. We'll pause that. Tribal Head. Bart, you have any career that supports before getting into the music career? Do you work? I mean, do you have a job? Okay, so the question is, do you do something else aside from the music?
No, I've been very lucky that I kind of was able to start making a living. Well, I did have, so I was in university, so I did have like jobs on the side.
Like newspapers or?
No, I was working in an office somewhere.
Okay, yeah.
And so I was doing that on the side, but actually my last year of university, I was already playing so many shows that I was able to make a business out of it.
Okay.
And so I never had a full-time job before I started doing music. I think that's what the question was, right?
Yeah, and right now.
Yeah, no, I've been lucky to make this a profession for so many years already. So.
It's also different times, like we spoke about it earlier. At that time, not everyone was a DJ.
No.
Or music producer. Like being a music producer back then was way harder. And
technically, yeah.
Yeah, like you had to get the right equipment and stuff. It was more expensive. Right now it's all software and easy to get. It's free or illegally downloadable or whatever you want to do with it. It's just more accessible.
Yeah.
And I think right now there's just more people who do the profession, so it's harder to get the slot on the stage.
Yeah. Plus there weren't as many YouTube tutorials and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's also a disadvantage now because a lot of people watch that and they all kind of sound the same because they're using the same sounds and they're also using the same techniques.
Yeah, same tips and tricks. True, yeah.
So
it's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to someone else, like would it help me if I would have had those tutorials when I started? I just had my nephew who I could call and say like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Could you come over?
Yeah.
And then he ran over and it's like, oh, you have to do this. Cool.
Yeah.
And then I could continue. It just took me 3 hours longer than normal. But yeah, it worked. But I'm actually not sure. I think
it's an interesting paradox because, you know, it could have helped you, but it also maybe didn't give you your own sound.
Yeah, exactly. I think I learned making music by the struggle. By pushing yourself,
trial and error, trying things and hopefully get something, but get some cool sounds.
Yeah, but at the same time you still learn curriculum now. If you want to know something, you just Google it and 2 minutes later you're good to go. Yeah, so it's a good thing as well. This is an interesting one from Jack Dahl. What was your way into getting your first release on a relatively big label? Was it contacts, networking that helped you? Let's do the first question first. Like, how did you get your way into the first label?
Well, my first release was on Tool Room, Mark Knight's label. And I just found his email address somewhere. I don't know how I got it.
Email was still old school at that moment.
Yeah.
Nobody was emailing.
No, but yeah, I just sent him the tracks and he signed them.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I sent my stuff to so many DJs and no one really replied.
Yeah, so much no's.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't like
A lot
it.
of rejection. That's also something I really have to deal with as an artist. But
so you just sent him an email?
yeah.
Okay, and what happened then?
Well, he replied that he really liked the tracks and he wanted to release an EP off of his label.
Mm.
And so I was just really spamming artists, DJs, sending them my tracks, and then I finally got a break.
Yeah, that's...
I think that's still how it kind of works, right?
Depends. Like sending emails kind of... It only works if you already have your foot between the door. Like for you or for me it could be easier because the network's already there. You might have already met the person or spoke to him like we did, like we never met but we already knew who we were. So if I would send you an email, you would check it.
Yeah.
But if someone else who you've never met and you never talked to would send you a demo, chances are pretty big that labels will not even check it anymore right now.
Plus I think a lot of DJs and artists these days, they have people looking over their demos.
Yeah.
So it's a different game as well.
Mm-hmm.
It must be more difficult to catch a break now.
Because there's more music. At that time when you sent in your music, there were like 100 demos a week, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not even that, I'm not sure. But nowadays it's like boom, through the roof. It's like 1,000 a month or something. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I feel for you guys who are trying to catch a break. Yeah, really.
Yeah. But it's at the same time again, it's different because it's more challenging as well, and you have different opportunities like Instagram now, which we didn't have.
No.
Like we couldn't reach out to the whole world by one click of a button. So everything has its pros and its cons, I think.
Definitely.
Do you mix and master your song yourself?
Yes. Well, actually, the last couple tracks I did, I had mastered.
Mm-hmm.
Because I realized I was spending so much time on the final process. It was like the 80% of the song I had in a couple hours, and then the other 20% it took me like 2 weeks to finish. But I do like to have control over the mix because I want to make sure that it sounds a certain way. But then I just thought like, okay, well, if I want to make sure that it really sounds amazing, the end product, then why don't I just have someone master it that I know is really good? And then you have a second opinion, and I trust him, so I know that he's not gonna give me a shitty a shitty master. So that saved me a lot of time actually.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I pretty much always mastered my own stuff as well, because I just wanted to have control over the final product. But I'm slowly stepping away from that. And mastering is not, you can do like the final touches on it, the final brushing, pretty much. But it's not gonna change the whole sound of your track, the way you made it. So
I think that's an interesting decision, because to me the same, like I think there's two different kind of music producers, like the technical and the more creative people. I was a more technical guy, as in I was more about the mix than I was about the melodies.
And me too.
And I think you should focus on the thing that you're good at, because if it takes you so much time to do something which in the end maybe isn't even the best, because someone else might do it way better for like a small fee or whatever, that might be a better investment in my opinion. But I do agree with the mixing and the creative part should be yourself, because that's your stamp, like that's your own sound. So but
there are also producers that have their own engineers, and they're not really behind the computer doing all the stuff, but they're producers in a sense that they make sure that the final product comes out of their brain. But they're not hands-on doing all the tweaking and stuff. And it's also, some people are weird about that, but you know, a movie producer also does the camera work.
No.
You know,
Everyone has his own specific task.
yeah. So if you're not if you're not a technically good engineer, you can also try to find someone who is. And
Have you ever seen Beyonce mixing her album?
yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, you know.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, I would like to see that too, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
No. It's
Yeah.
Jay-Z who mixes.
Yeah,
there,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah. Someone in her circle is doing it. Let's just see what another question is. Your favorite place in Utrecht?
My favorite place, as in what? As in a club?
I don't know. Favorite place in Utrecht?
I love.
Name a few. Like, what's your favorite coffee bar? Do you like coffee?
I'm not a big coffee drinker.
Okay. What do you like to drink?
I'm pretty. I just drink water or
Favorite
tea, or
water
tea
bar.
really. Maybe I was British in a past life or something. I like to drink tea.
Favorite tea bar?
Oh God. You know, I'm always in the studio. Like I'm not out that much. So
Well, then that's your favorite tea bar, right? The studio.
yeah, oh for sure.
And is there like a place? Do you go out often?
Well, there's a club called Tivoli in Utrecht, and they usually book like some of my friends there. Also like international DJs, and they have really good agenda, like a program. So I usually end up there when there's friends DJing or.
It's like a pop center, right? Or is the club?
Yeah, it's like a venue, like a club.
Yeah.
They have many rooms.
Hmm.
It's a really cool place.
Cool.
Yeah.
If he was always able to make a living out of music production, we kind of touched that subject, but not if you were always able to do it, right? Like,
Well,
yeah, we did. You mentioned that you had some side jobs in the beginning. Yeah, true. What's your favorite preset?
My favorite preset.
Yeah.
Depends which is synth, right?
Yeah. What's your favorite synth? Let's start with that.
No, but even when I use like presets, so the ones that are already made by someone else, then I end up tweaking them because I just can't use something that's you know
you just don't like presets.
No, because then you just sound like everyone else. So
yeah,
always try to give it your own twist. But you know, for others maybe that works. I don't know. So but I think one of the least inspiring things is to go through presets. You know,
the least
so you already have a melody or a bass line or whatever, and then you're just skipping through presets.
Yeah,
I think that's so killing your inspiration and your creativity.
Yeah, it's true. Totally true. So you don't really have a favorite preset then? It's like, what's your favorite synth to work with? Like,
a lot of
your go-to synth.
A lot of stuff I made with the Oddity, the G-Force Oddity, which I don't think is that well known.
No.
But I just think that's such a cool synth. I also have the hardware synth, the ARP Odyssey. Well, I always grab the the digital one because I'm too lazy to hook up.
Better being lazy than tired, right?
Yeah. So, but I really like that one, and that's also the one I made Brap with. But then I layered it with some of the hardware synth.
What I like about your tracks is that it sounds so minimalistic, but so full at the same time. So every element you use, like maybe there's only 6 to 7 elements in your track or something, maybe even less sometimes, just the bass line and the kick, but still the full frequency spectrum is filled. Like it sounds fat.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I like in a track, and I think that kind of represents your sound as well. To me, that's part B more.
Yeah, it's also tricky because sometimes the music sounds really simple, but it can also sound too simple almost.
Yeah.
It's always a very thin line between. I always like to think that you have to make it sound simple, but it's not actually simple.
Yeah. I have this saying too, but I think it's a marketing term. I'm not sure. KISS. Have you heard of it? Keep it simple, stupid.
Okay.
That's what I like to use. Like
Yeah.
everything you do, keep it simple, stupid, so everyone can understand what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
The more complicated you make, the more complicated you make it, the less understandable it becomes to the audience.
Yeah. But sometimes you hear a song and you think like, oh, this is such a cool song, but it sounds so simple. Like I can make this, but then you really start to analyze the song.
Yeah.
And you hear all these different dimensions and layers in the track, and you're like, oh, okay, it's not actually that simple.
It's not that simple.
So the trick is to make it sound simple, but
yeah,
it's not actually.
That's a good tip. Good tip. Okay, I'll just grab a drink first. Would you like to drink? Something?
Sure, I'll have
water?
some water.
I'll have to refill this.
Perfect. Thank you.
Even van het pakken. You can tell a bit more about this one we already answered. How did you get your shows around the world?
All right.
When did that started?
God. way back. Probably around 2009. No, I was playing 2007 already. I think 2007 was when I really started to go to the UK a lot. And the reason for that was that I got a lot of support from Pete Tong on BBC Radio 1.
Yeah.
And
that was really big at that moment.
Yeah, I think in those days, but that's 12 years ago, this is really the start of my career.
Yeah.
Everyone was still listening to radio a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is these days. I think people are more on Spotify than they listen to the radio.
I think it depends, like the age of your of your audience.
Yeah.
I think young people are not listening to radio that much anymore. Maybe at work or whatever, but
it's probably probably pretty close. I mean, I think a lot of people still listen to the radio as well. But yeah, Pete Tong, he made 2 of my tracks his essential new tune in his radio show, and that was like a really big thing.
Yeah.
So that launched me into the UK, and I was pretty much playing there every weekend. So
I think you were one of the first DJs who actually started playing abroad that much.
Yeah, it was really funny because I was playing in Holland a lot with guys like Hardwell, Laidback Luke, and I was already going to the UK a lot, and they were really like, oh, that's really cool that you get to play there, and I want to go international as well. Well, yeah, they did.
Well, they did. And
it worked out.
How did you see that that industry changing? As in, right now, if you're getting booked in a different country, things are well arranged. Your flights arranged, your hotels arranged, the pickups are arranged, maybe even the dinners as well. How was that at sorry for my cough, it's really annoying. But how was it back at that time? Like, was it all already at that level, or how did that work?
Yeah,
same thing.
Yeah, it was already at a quite professional level, so we never really had to worry about all that stuff.
Cool.
Okay. It hasn't changed that much, really. Just the size of everything. Yeah. Everything's bigger.
Maybe the distance as well, because now it's Asia, States.
Yeah.
It's more far away. Like Europe is like a maximum 4-hour flight. Right now.
Yeah, but that's around 2009, 2010. I was already, playing in Australia and America. So it hasn't changed that much.
It hasn't changed that much. Yeah. How does he feel about Martin Garrix, Team Garrix, and Stamped Records?
I'm I'm really happy to be a part of Stamped Records. It's really a really cool team, and Martijn is really a cool guy. It's really cool because since I've been part of Stamped, I got to know him a little bit, and he's just the way you see him on Instagram and stuff, and just like his presence. That's really how he is. Like, he's just such an enthusiastic, passionate guy. He just loves music, and you know, whenever I'm in the studio at the Stamped Studios and he's around, he comes in and listens to my music, and he wants to play me his new music and stuff. Even though I don't really make the same kind of music as him, he still wants my opinion, and he's still curious what I think about his music. So he just loves music, and I think cool. that's really cool.
I think like we already talked about it before as well, but being yourself as an artist, and this is one of the best examples in that case, is key to success. Yeah. As in your marketing, your branding, but also if you actually meet him, he doesn't disappoint. You know, like you're a completely different guy. You know?
Yeah. I've had that as well, where you kind of get to meet your heroes, and they're like dicks or something.
Yeah,
you know,
you're like, what?
That's such a disappointment.
How does that happen?
But no, Martijn is really cool, and the whole Stamped Records team is really great. It's really cool, positive vibe around them. Cool,
can imagine. A lot of people want to know where you get your inspiration from. I don't know why, but I see a pattern.
Yeah.
And here's a question: how you feel about political things? But let's just keep that aside.
Let's not go there.
Yeah. Too deep. Okay, happiest moments. What makes him happy?
What makes me happy? Well, when music works out, that makes me really happy. What
do you mean when you say works out?
When I get to create something that I really love, and it makes me even happier when I see that when I see people enjoying it. You know, when I see people dance to it, and that really gives me a lot of joy. But also, just like everyday, really normal stuff, like friends and family, and that's what I think is really important. Yeah, it's not all just about success and making money, and the things that make me happy are not really things. You know, it's just
it's not the physical things that you can grab. It's so cliche, but I get what you say.
It's absolutely true, because when I was touring a lot, you know, I had all these things. I had the success and I was doing really well, but then sometimes you can't really share that with your friends or family. So I think it's really important to have a good balance with that. So make sure if you're touring a lot, also make sure that you make a lot of time for your friends and family, you know, people you care about.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Did you have a tour manager?
I did, yeah. And he's a good friend of mine, so it was really nice to have a friend with me on tour.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
But I always
it's also tricky.
Because you're constantly on each other's lip, you know, like every day, even at the times where you don't want to talk to people because you're tired and hungover and you just don't feel like being a nice guy or whatever. Yeah. You still have to communicate with someone, sometimes even under pretty stressful moments. Yeah. Which might not be the right moments to have a talk with your friend.
I know, the lack of sleep really
that kills you.
Yeah, does a number on you. Definitely.
Yeah. I've had those moments as well. Like, now looking back at a few moments, I was like, damn, I was a bitch.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, at a few moments. Like, most of the time it was normal, but at those moments, like when stress was there, or I was hungover, or whatever happened, I could be a really terrible guy.
Yeah, it's not you're not being your best self. And in those kind of moments. No. That's true. We also like laughed about that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, just having.
Is he's still your friend now?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. No, he made it through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Say hi to Nick Gurr. He's your biggest fan. Right.
Hey, Nick.
Cool. I have some other questions. I think we already spoke about a lot of things that I wanted to cover.
All right.
What can we expect? Just one thing, cliche question from an interview. What can we expect from you in the upcoming months?
I'm gonna be releasing a lot more stuff with Stamped.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one is actually coming out next week, April 5th.
Mm-hmm.
It's called. It's this week.
It's Friday.
Oh God.
Oh shit! My marketing plan.
It's April 1st. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one's coming out on Friday. It's called Rave Lab.
Okay.
And I already have the next ones lined up. So
how often do you release?
So far I've released almost every month this year.
Is that your goal, or you don't work with goals, or?
Well, I released a lot less last year because I also was less inspired, I guess. But now I feel really inspired, so I just want to try and release as much as possible. Yeah. Also to have keep it going, and you need to stay in the spotlights really, because people forget about you really fast.
Really fast.
It's good to have a constant output.
Yeah, it's true. Like once a month, I would say it's the minimum right now.
Oh, really? So I can actually step it up a little bit.
I would do more. Like if you can do 4 a month, I would go for 4 a month.
So you're not afraid it's gonna...
No. Like the Spotify algorithms will keep your music alive.
Yeah.
I actually received an email today. I haven't released a song. A year and a half ago was my last release, and the time before that took me 2 years before I even released anything. So let's say 4 years ago was like my last main release where I actually got attention.
Okay.
And I still got an email from Spotify today saying I still got 15,000 people listening to my music every month.
That's amazing.
Without doing anything.
Yeah.
So music just keeps...
recycling?
Spotify keeps recycling your music with Discover Weekly, with Release Radar. If someone listens to your new song, like to the Super Zoom song, Spotify might notice, like, hey, he likes this guy, I'll show him another track in his Discover Weekly or whatever. Yeah. And I think that's the whole reason why I would say go all in. Like if you can do 8 a month, do 8 a month. Yeah.
You do see a pattern with DJs where they're just in the beginning they're releasing a lot of music, and then once they get bigger and bigger, they start releasing less and less. Yeah. Because they're maybe too concerned about the quality, or
I think that all has to do with overthinking.
Yeah.
Like, is the quality good enough? What are the other people going to think about it?
I've had that as well.
Yeah, and I've been there as well. And I think you can actually confirm it. I think that's the biggest pitfall at that moment, because at that moment you should think about what the reason was, how you actually got there. Yeah. Because somehow you did something good, because that's how you ended up being successful in it. Yeah. And then changing the pattern might not be the best decision at that moment.
It's tricky because obviously the sound that you gained success with also gave you that success. So you want to kind of hang on to that, but also the music is constantly changing, so you need to also innovate a little bit. And so it's a very difficult area really to maneuver.
I think it's 100% a war with yourself. 100%
for sure,
because no one's stopping you from doing anything. No one's telling you to not do something or whatever. You're just telling yourself to do something or not do something.
But you do get a lot of comments and feedback on your music.
Yeah, but obviously you allow it to impact yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Right now, I'm not sure how it is with you. Like, if you see a negative comment right now, do you live that? Like, do you how do you say that?
No,
Do you care about that or?
not anymore. No.
No, not anymore. Exactly. So you did, but not
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, of course. You have to learn how to
Yeah.
not take it personally,
Exactly.
and that's also a process, I guess.
It's definitely a process, but I think that that's where the big success comes in. As soon as you start to recognize those things and start mastering it yourself,
Yeah,
perfect balance.
absolutely. It's a mind game, really.
It's a mind game. Yeah. It's really interesting. We've had a talk about this as well, but to me it's really interesting to see how, especially if you, like you mentioned, the bigger artists, it's so interesting to see what kind of decisions those guys make based on what.
Yeah. There is always a pattern though, where you see artists, they get bigger, and then all of a sudden they steer away from their sound that which gave them all their popularity, and then the fans are always like, oh, we want the old sound, but artists always feel the need to explore different stuff and to experiment. And I find it quite a shame as well when you have your favorite artist and he starts doing something completely different. But I get it from an artist's point of view. But as a music lover, I just would want to have more of that awesome stuff that he's making. So it's very tricky.
It is, but that artist that you're a fan of evolves as an artist. Like he gets better in music production.
And as a person.
And as a person.
Yeah.
Like maybe you just lost your dad, or maybe you just lost your girlfriend. That does something to you.
Yeah, of course.
And since music is coming out of you, it changes.
Yeah.
Everything you experience in life changes you as a person, and as an artist, everything that changes around you infects your music. So that's why I think that it's not a weird thing at all that people go like this in their career.
No.
Because you evolve.
You go like that in life as well.
Yeah,
so.
like life isn't a straight line, It goes, it's the same as an artist's career. It's not a straight line. It would be great if it was. Really great.
But maybe then it would be really boring as well.
Probably, yeah. I think because if you have to do, let's say you were still making the same thing as you were doing 10 years ago. Wouldn't be challenging at all.
No.
Same samples, same plugins.
Exactly.
It's not challenging at all.
No, of course you want to create something that's, that's new and that's fresh to people. And I've always had this in really high, there was high importance in my music that I try to keep it fresh, and
keep evolving.
Yeah, but I just get a big kick out of doing different stuff than other people.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me, but I would find it really boring to make a song that's already out there,
Yeah.
To just replicate a song.
But I think that's where the power is, like being different from the rest. Because being the rest means you're taking the straight line.
Yeah, but maybe I go into another extreme where it just needs to sound really weird. Yeah. I just like weird music, really. Well,
every pro has his con, right?
Yeah.
That's just the truth. Like, you have to balance all those things out. It's okay to take a step from a different genre, like doing something differently than the rest.
Yeah.
But you should also consider the business side of it. Like, how far can I take it until bookers stop booking me?
I know.
Right?
And that's also mind game, because I sometimes make a song and then it's inspired on something, and I'm like, oh my god, everyone's gonna hear that I took this song as the inspiration for my track, and then you play it to people and they're like, what are you talking about? It doesn't sound like that at all.
But it's
so
all
in your head.
Yeah, because it's inspired on a certain song.
Yeah.
I actually had it last week as well with someone sending me a track. They're like, hey, I built a new track. It's inspired on this song. Would you please check if it sounds any way like it?
Yeah.
And I was listening to it, like, listening to it again. What? I had no idea. But that's funny because, like you said, it all happens in your head.
Yeah.
You're the one who's making yourself crazy with those assumptions.
Definitely.
And that's really interesting to keep track on. Like, when is something the truth, and when is it made up by yourself?
That's when you can ask other people, you know, as a reference. Ask
Depends,
them if
but because sometimes you could get the wrong feedback as well. If you ask people around you, like let's say your family or your friends, that feedback might be colored. Is that the right word? Like it's not 100% real.
yeah,
Because they try to protect you and not hurt your feelings, so they wouldn't give you the 100% real reaction. But I think you should find someone in your life that you know gives you the real deal.
yeah, someone that you value their opinion and you respect their musical knowledge and I think so too.
Because to me that's the most valuable feedback, like getting back from someone, I like the track.
Yeah, but it can also really help to just play it to someone who's not into music at all, just to see if it works.
Different perspective.
And to see if it sounds like something that you inspired it on.
Yeah,
but
that's true. Yeah.
But that's probably not good for the in-depth feedback.
But I think like checking if it works isn't the right strategy, because that's just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
Like the person you're checking it with might say, I think it's horrible, and it might be a worldwide hit.
Yeah.
So you could always check it, of course, but I wouldn't rely your decision to release it, yes or no, on one or two persons.
Yeah. It's funny because I played my new track to my friends this weekend.
Which one? The one's coming out this week?
Yeah, that one. And I actually played it to them before, and they said like, "This is so weird. What is this shit? You know, what is this?" And it's already getting played by all these big DJs and stuff. So, and just because they think it's weird doesn't mean that other people think it is too.
Exactly.
And it's tricky, but I think the best way is to go with someone who you trust and you know you value their opinion a lot.
Yeah. And do you think it's a smart tactic for an artist to start spending time developing themselves, like internally, like like that mind game we've been talking about? Do you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
If you don't, then it will kick your ass.
Karma's a bitch.
Yeah. No, but once you start touring and start getting success, then you know it will catch up with you.
Yeah.
And if you already know what you want in life, and if you know yourself, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Because you don't get distracted by everything that's around you.
All the noise around you. Yeah, true.
Yeah. But that's just advice for anyone in general. Like if you're making music, if you know yourself, then life gets easier. We're getting really philosophical.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just talking about philosophy here.
Shall I grab you some extra water?
I'm okay.
Okay.
That's good.
One more question. Do you collab with not known producers as long as the idea is good?
Yeah, of course. I mean, music is music.
Yeah.
If it's good, then it doesn't really matter where it comes from. We were talking about this earlier, where we were talking about collaborations, and if you should only work with people that are higher in profile or lower. And for me, it has never been important what kind of status someone has.
Right.
Just when I can vibe with someone, and if we connect, then I like working with them, and doesn't really matter. I also worked with producers in different genres as well, and they've always been looked at kind of weird. You know, maybe not you would normally not place these two artists together. But you know, I just think like, okay, if you connect with someone and you can just make something cool, then why think about like if this is credible or not, or like if this is frowned upon? Because you know, there are some DJs, some artists, for example, in the underground that don't like to work with commercial names. I just don't really get that, and vice versa maybe too. But you know, everything is just so put into boxes. You know, you're mainstream, you're underground, and I've always been in the middle, and I've been like flirting with both sounds always, and that's where I feel comfortable in. So if someone presents a really cool idea, and I really like it, then why not work with that person?
I totally agree. Like I must admit that I've been in a different mindset about this. I had a different opinion about this like 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I was also looking at people on top of me instead of underneath me, of above me, sorry. But right now I do believe that it doesn't really matter as long as it brings you a good product, like a good new track. It's valuable.
I think so too, but
of course it helps.
I'm talking from a personal perspective. I don't know if it's the best, like business wise.
Business wise, it's better to do it with someone who's bigger, of course, because they can tap into their audience. Yeah, like I get that, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about if you make something with a bigger artist, but it's not that good. Wouldn't it be better if you made something that's really good with an unknown artist?
The question there becomes what's quality, what's good and what's not. Like I think that if a bigger artist releases something, the quality doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the brand.
That's true.
So in that case, I would say yes. The bigger the release, the bigger the artist, the better.
From business perspective.
From business perspective, but creative wise, which is also something you should think about as an artist, making something you like is important as well.
Yeah. It's more satisfying than
you just keep tickling yourself like, oh shit, look what I made, it's great to see, or it's something new. That should be something you should think about as well. So maybe find a balance in between. That should be,
I mean, I experienced a lot of DJs and artists that were so stuck with themselves because they were just doing the same thing over and over again. And you know, they just didn't know who they were anymore with like their sound and as an artist. So I think I got sidetracked a little bit. I don't know why I'm going here, but
if you're interested, if you're interested about that subject, I have a nice book for you, which is really small because I don't like big books. Well, actually, I don't like reading, but I like audiobooks. Perfect solution for me. Anyway, sidetrack. I have a book which is called Who Stole My Cheese? Do you know that book?
No.
It's about two little mice who go out into a maze to look for cheese, and suddenly the cheese is gone. And I'll not spoil it, but it's really interesting because it gives you a different mindset on sticking with the thing you've been doing.
Okay.
And that's the thing that a lot of successful artists start doing. As soon as they hit success, they keep doing what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And if you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll also stay at the point where you've always been.
Yeah. Yeah, and they feel like prisoners to their own
you're
success.
a victim of your own success,
And they have to play the same songs over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel comfortable just, you know, being under the radar a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I like to make songs that maybe flirt with the commercial side of house music, you know, but I don't mind not having that really big success because you can still, in your sets, you feel free to play whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that one big smash hit or more of those, then you always have to play that every time, and you know, that would drive me slowly insane maybe. But you know, I also understand it, like if people pay tickets to come see you, they want to hear your music. So I do always play my own stuff, but I also like to leave a lot of room for new music and other stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you're touching on. I lately used the example of when you go to the concert of your favorite artist, like let's say Metallica is your favorite artist, you want them to play their top hits. You will be disappointed if they don't.
Of course, yeah.
And that's how people in the audience at your gig experience it the same way. Like they know you because of a certain song or all the songs, I don't know, but they expect you to play it.
It's also an old-fashioned way of me to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I started DJing, the DJ was still like the guy in the corner
like
with
in
no
a dark
with no lights on him,
yeah,
and just like playing cool music, and that has changed so much.
Mm-hmm. You're a rock star right now.
Well, yeah, the biggest DJs, they're pop stars.
Yeah, definitely.
But that doesn't mean that there's still a scene where you can, you know, play weird and undiscovered music.
True, definitely.
And you know, I think it would be cool if more like the top DJs would experiment more in their sets. But a lot of them are too scared, you know.
Yeah, and that's where the overthinking comes in. Like, what would the people think if I do it, or blah blah blah. And you end up doing nothing, so you keep doing what you've always been doing, and you suddenly slowly die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of DJs go for the sure shots, right? They know that they work.
Yeah.
So, I get it. I do get it.
Hmm.
It's maybe not for me.
Everyone has their own decisions to make, right?
Exactly.
Cool. Guys, we're gonna... Oh, notification. We're gonna round this thing up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating. Thanks for sending your questions in the chat room, but also on my Instagram page. Follow this guy. His new release is coming up this week. I forgot the name.
Week,
Laser?
Rave Lab.
Rave Lab. Wow.
Yeah.
Rave
and it
Lab.
sounds exactly like you
Like,
would imagine.
Okay. I kind of imagine that's that big synth, like...
No.
No? Okay, cool. Something else.
But yeah, it's kind of... I'm really happy with this record a lot. It sounds really weird, and that's what I like about it. And it really goes off when I played it, so...
Cool. And it's on Stamped, right?
Yeah, on Stamped.
Stamped Records. Cool. Guys, thanks for watching. Bart, thank you for
guys.
being here.
Thanks for having me.
For answering all these questions. I hope everyone got their value out of it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Peace.